All right, guys. Obviously, good win, good team. A lot of respect for Illinois. I think they're a really good team. I know they were coming off an emotional game the other night, but our players, I thought they were terrific. I thought our players were terrific. Justice Suing made some outstanding key offensive rebound plays, rebounded the ball at a high level. Bruce was phenomenal the whole game. There's a number of guys I could mention. I thought our versatility with Gene and Ice was really good. Players win games. Those guys stepped up and did a great job. So, quick turnaround here for our next one.
Chris, after you guys beat Iowa, you said you needed that win like your next breath. And it's been a rough stretch since then. How badly, I know it's just one game, but how badly did you need this?
Adam, I think at this point, as we talked about the last month, really, it is about, how we're playing as much as anything. And, we really did feel like we were playing better basketball, not always being rewarded necessarily for that. But I think at this point, really throughout the season, not at any, but that is really what we stress: play the right way, play it for longer stretches. We have been doing that, starting really in the Purdue game, I believe. I thought we had some really good stretches of play there. Can we extend those minutes of quality play for longer stretches? I thought we did that, and I thought we did it the other night as well. We felt the dividends, obviously, the rewards of it with the win here.
And this one, when you build the double-digit lead, and they cut it to one, and you've seen that script. What did you see this time in your guys? Maybe in some of those moments, I know Justice had the putback and Bryce had the dunk, but when they cut it to one in the second half, what did you see from your guys that they were able to respond today?
Yeah, I just thought they played. I thought we got high-quality shots. Obviously, the emotional play there with Bryce's phenomenal dunk. But I thought Justice's putback was really key, as I mentioned. Listen, we knew they were going to make a run. It's college basketball. Every team does. I thought those guys, they stepped up and made plays. They really did. Our players stepped up and made plays.
Coach, you talked the other day about, feeling and carrying kind of the weight of the disappointment of the season and things like that. So I'm just wondering, given those comments, did it feel like a huge sigh of relief for you? Any weight off your shoulders? Just, it's one game, but in the moment there, take me through your feelings there, I guess.
Yeah, no, I understand the question for sure, and I think there probably is some of that, Griffin. I think as much as anything, I have felt better about how we played, and I think that as a coach and as a coaching staff, you feel better. We're obviously we've got a lot of guys who are learning things in the moment, but I have felt better. We have felt better about how we played here in the last week and a half, and I think that's probably what we've, if there's a good feeling, that's what it's been.
Maybe Gene's best game of the season. 9 points, made a lot of good, defensive plays and things like that. Talk about what he brought to the table today.
I thought Gene was great. It's interesting with how we're playing with without Zed. And we're a little bit faster, and we're a little more versatile. And Isaac and Gene really fight in there. They really fight in there. And we thought we'd see Danger more. I wish I could have played Felix more. It was just they went with a bunch of forwards, so it was hard to get him in there longer.
What's the teaching point you take out of this with the guys?
I think, you do not know when there will be any type of breakthrough when you're going through a stretch like this. So I think the teaching point is and has been that should not change our preparation, our togetherness, and our ability to play the right way for longer stretches. And that's really been what we've preached. And if we didn't have a breakthrough today, but we played for longer stretches the right way, then that was going to be the conversation in the postgame. And I think that has to continue to be the case the rest of the season.
What's your happiest, most confident coming out of this? If you had to pick like sort of one thing, maybe different, hasn't been there before.
I would say a lot of things. Maybe our response in terms of quality possessions when they made a run. Quality possessions. I didn't think we took a ton of bad shots. I thought we were really tied together offensively. I thought we forced them into tough looks. They're lethal in transition. They're really fast. So I thought we were able to eliminate some of the, probably that would be the thing that I'm most proud of.
You mentioned just his offensive rebounding, but defensive glass-wise, you guys were probably maybe the best you've been all season. What do you think of that in that department? Was it a
Huge
breakthrough?
key. Enormous key. They're the second best offensive rebounding team in the league. They have guys off the bench who are really committed to offensive rebounding. It was a huge key. I mean, players will tell you, we drilled at home for 2 days, and we had a really physical practice yesterday because of how good they are on the glass. It was an enormous key, and they did a good job with it.
Isaac, didn't take a shot today, but that's not really his game. Defensively, what do you think from him limiting Terrence Shannon Jr.?
I thought he was great. He made him work. Shannon's a terrific player. Terrific. He and Mayer are phenomenal. They can get shots at any time. I thought they were they're really, really good. And I just think Ice did what Ice does. He just made them work. And, again, it's a unique lineup that you can throw out there because he might be playing some of the five offensively, but he's guarding their 6'7" point guard. So it's just a unique versatility.
You mentioned growth as the standard you wanted to see. There's growth and then there's confirmation of growth. And everybody wants to win, but the necessity of winning to getting them to see that what you're preaching is really important.
Yes, for sure. For sure. I think they needed this in the final stretch, sometimes even more than coaches, because coaches are evaluating the quality of possessions. Are we playing the right way? But players, we know it's a bottom line deal, but I think they needed that to feel good about themselves and to validate some of what we've been telling them with, hey, listen, we are playing more quality possessions than what we were. It will be rewarded. There's no question.
So it's obviously been an outlier year and a tough year for you, and all the buzz. What no one's asked you is, are you committed to staying here? Because your name's coming up for other jobs, which typically that happens when you're having a great year or you're an up-and-coming guy, like your name from Gardner-Webb. And so, I guess I'm asking you to speak to your level of commitment here. If they want you, do you want them? And Gene has been very supportive of you here. But when your name comes up for Mississippi and Notre Dame and other things, are you prepared to say, no, I'm here? Or are you not?
Yes, absolutely. I love it here. And Gene and I have been very open about our plan in terms of, moving forward and what our plan was after last year with somewhat of a rebuilt roster, what that was going to look like, how young we were going to be, our commitment to playing young guys, to backing that up with another young class. It's a little bit hard to do sometimes when you're going into year 6 and you're saying, okay, hey, we're gonna philosophically look at how we want to build this thing to give us maybe our greatest potential as a program. But I think we have played our young guys. We have another good class coming, and there is some real excitement in that amidst the tremendous disappointment with how some things have gone. Absolutely.
Coach, I know you say that everything's been about just getting better, and you've seen a lot of growth, but just microscopic level, when you see the smiles after the game, when you see the tweet of them finally singing again, how, I guess, just happy are you for the guys that you're back in the win column?
It's the best thing about it. It's that and seeing my wife happy and my daughter. That's the best thing about it. Yeah, it's the best thing about it, seeing those guys smile, seeing them really enjoy, have fun playing today, enjoy the moment, enjoy the, fun plays that happen in the midst of the game. That's the best thing about it, yeah.
In college basketball, there's so many games. You can almost take wins for granted. I mean, there are a lot of times we come in here in the middle of December and you guys win a game and we say, okay, up next, how do you get ready for them? Do you think at any point throughout this season this has made you appreciate wins more and maybe appreciate moments like what we saw in the shot tonight?
This year, no question. This year has, for sure. It's been a different year than, what I've experienced. So there's no question. You enjoy these moments more.
The job is to win the game.
Yes.
But at the same time, you've got to kind of take a big picture approach to what you're trying to accomplish here.
Yep.
So you've got a freshman who's a scorer, but his defense is a little, suspect at times. How do you balance that? Because that's you've got to win the game. That's
Yeah.
the thing. But if you let that go,
Yeah.
that can leak into bad stuff.
It can. It can. And it's a really delicate balance. If you ask coaches, they'll tell you that's one of the hardest things to do in today's climate of college basketball. You know, our job is to coach him and to hold him accountable. He's also not ready to play a perfect defense or, for that matter, offensive game. So there has to be some room to grow as long as he remains coachable and willing to learn. But he needs to all of our guys need to continue to be coached, but I'm assuming you're speaking of Bryce. Tremendous gifts, but there also, right, there are two ends. What I've really appreciated about Bryce is he has maintained a high level of coachability in the midst of, maybe some stretches where we had to go with a group that was just defending a little bit better. And I thought his response today was really good. And I think coaches will tell you it's one of the hardest things for us to figure out at times.
It seemed like the attention to detail defensively, especially in the first half, they could not get to the rim. They couldn't get into the lane. What was it that in the game plan that enabled you to have that kind of performance when you have struggled the way you have defensively?
Yeah, Adam, I think the thing with these guys is they're going to shoot a lot of threes, and they can be very streaky. That's the dangerous thing. But they also, their percentages haven't been great, but they are going to shoot a lot of threes. So we understood that, but we wanted to be, appropriately in our gaps and help where we could. And I think our attention to detail was good.
We talked to Justice and Bruce, and they both have shared varying viewpoints on just how tough of a stretch this has been. And obviously, one's at the beginning of his tenure, one's at the end of his tenure. What is it like, or how have you seen the two of them in their different viewpoints battle through this and try to find a better ending?
Good. I've really liked Justice's mindset in the last week or so. And coming off of the Purdue game, I've really liked his mindset. And Bruce has just been so steady for the last year, but certainly the last 6 weeks. He's just been really steady.
Bruce, he played maybe his best half of basketball in the first half today, but in the second half, it looked like Illinois was making a more conceited effort to limit Bruce from getting closer to the basket. I think they might have threw Sincere Harris at him.
Yeah.
But then Bruce, in the final 5 minutes, he finally gets his first bucket of the second half in the final 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about his second half and maybe a little bit tougher in the second half, but the patience of him to come through in the final 5 minutes?
Yeah, I felt like he answered the bell every time we needed a bucket. I thought his and one was critical, created a little more distance. It was a really tough drive. And they were trying to ice it at times and then weak it at other times and crawl up into him. So we had to change our angle of our ball screen a little bit in the middle of the floor. He's gotten better at navigating that as he's seen under coverage or a hedge or an ice or a weak. He's gotten better at that, at finishing. He shot one behind it today when they went under or when they were late to extend. So he was just really good in the middle of the floor. You can't run ball screens against these guys because they keep it on the side and they ice it. You can't do it on the side, but you can do it in the middle, and I thought that was effective for us.
Of all the freshmen that you've coached, him compared to the freshmen, just his steadiness and the fact that he was able to maybe wipe away those 15 minutes where he was struggling and couldn't get shots, and the fact that he was able to do that in the final few minutes.
Malachi was incredibly poised too. Incredibly poised. We know that. I mean, how many times did he helped us finish games last year, the Indiana game here, so he was incredibly poised. I think with Bruce, we haven't had a point guard like this where he's so much the focal point of what we do on both ends since we've been here. But his maturity, I think, and his talent and his ability and his toughness and his intangibles make him really special.
Yeah, I totaled it up. His last 7 games, he's shooting almost 60% and almost 40% on threes. His shot selection seems to be pretty good, and he's got a really good feel, it seems, of getting into the lane and getting the guy on his back and getting a good view. Just what do you say about those aspects of what he's been able to?
He's a pretty big point guard, Steve. He's
Big Ten body.
Yeah, he does.
Coach Underwood
he does
said.
have that for sure. He does have that, and I think we'll probably have to in the offseason kind of get him maybe slim down a little bit. But he's tremendous at keeping guys. We call that a hostage situation when they're icing and keep them on his backside and make the right read. And when you have Felix as a rim threat, it really presents some issues. So he's done a really good job of that. Anything else? All right, thanks, guys.